I'm still trying to figure out how to go about this thing, how to have a well-rounded experience. And I don't want to go back before I'm ready because I'm still trying to learn things. And I've always learned through the fire. And that's what I'm feeling vagabonding is. A lot of times you're trying to learn through this trial, and it's going to build you back as a better person if you take it for that. So I'm purposely trying to stay homeless because I know that the second that I go back to, an established living, I'm going to be expecting certain things. And if they don't happen, I'm going to collapse worse than ever, It's just kind of a more unique outlook that I'm withholding myself on purpose because I don't feel like I've learned enough lessons yet.
Do you think there'll be like some kind of indicator or marker where you feel that you have learned what you need from the road, or do you think that there'll just be a certain point where it's time to hang up the hat and go back?
That's actually the ultimate question. um, I'm hoping that I develop myself enough to a point where I can go back into society and not have any reservations and just be totally comfortable. But also accept the idea that, I might just, die lonely and destitute and living on the roads and stuff like that. But I think the biggest thing, and I know this gets mentioned on Reddit, and I really appreciate and love you guys for all the comments, that are positive, especially during my recent posts, that I seem to maintain a very positive attitude, and that's my biggest change, is adhering to Stoicism, that there's a positive in everything, and that's why I always make sure to smile, because if you're not loving this, don't do it. If you don't love being a vagabond, don't do it. There's such a negative stereotype about this suffering, and it's not to call people out, but it's almost like certain people are asking for sympathy. And for me, sympathy is one of the most demeaning feelings. If somebody comes up to me, and let's say somebody in society, and they're like, hey, you need something? Are you okay? This seems rough. You're suffering. I'm like, I know you mean well, but it's demeaning. Like, I'm doing this out of my own choice. I'm doing this because there's a reason, there's purpose. Ultimately, there's enjoyment in this. Don't fucking do it. This is a message to all vagabonds, all homeless, whatever. Don't fucking do it unless you like it. If you don't like it, go. There has to be a change. That's what within myself, when I say that I feel unsettled, in a sense, whenever you feel unsettled, that is your soul telling you that a change needs to be made. You don't even need to know what that change is, but you at least know that a change needs to be made. What is your purpose? Your purpose is to find what exactly that is. And that's why I really believe Stoicism, especially in relation to being a vagabond, is an absolutely amazing philosophy to follow and to study. So I'm going to admit, I don't know. Like I said before, I fully admit that, my plan is to become, go back to being an electrician and have a traditional life while dabbling back into the vagabond society during my vacation time. And at that point, I'm hoping to have a lot of money and property and stability and, be in a nice relationship and stuff like that. And hopefully, find a partner that's understanding, and that I'm comfortable around. And the biggest thing I would say for me is getting treated, because if you have mental illness that's untreated, you're always going to be uncomfortable. But at this point, being on my meds, I'm talking about depression, bipolar, social anxiety, PTSD, ADHD, borderline personality disorder, stuff like that. I'm very comfortable for the first time in my life, these past couple of years. Being a vagabond has been the most comfortable thing for me. Why? It's because I got treated, and because I've been able to experience life. So I always tell people, listen, if you're suffering, you don't need to. If you're suffering, there has to be a change. Please seek mental help. Please see a psychiatrist. Meds are less of a risk than risking the rest of your life being miserable. And you can always change things. That's why you got to be very proactive in the stance we take towards living their own life.